Hello and welcome to Formulas for Teachers. This is Michael Anderson. This is video number 2. We're working with some Google Form quiz data that we've collected on this Google Sheet. And before I go any further, I will let you know all these names are fake. I made them with my fake name generator so that I don't violate FERPA. So basically, we're going to figure out how do we put this data in a format that we as teachers can use, that each individual teacher can use to put the grades in the grade book or to figure out various things about these students' scores. So a real quick recap here. The data was collected. I got the email addresses. Those were collected automatically, got the scores. The students selected the teacher that they had and the class period that they had. And then, of course, they answered all the questions. First thing I'm going to do is hide the data that I don't need. I don't really like to delete things. You can, probably doesn't matter. It's just a habit that I have to just hide rather than delete when I can. So we'll just go and hide those columns. So now I've got just the information that I need. Now, what I need to do first to organize this data is to get these names in a manner that I can put them alphabetically, because my gradebook's alphabetical, so it probably makes sense that the names are also alphabetical as well. So that's the first task. This video is only going to cover that piece of it. The next videos will cover the subsequent steps that we do. So to do this, I'm going to use what's called the split function. So I'm going to just put this right here as first name. I don't even really need to have a header there, but I like to have a header. So what I'm going to do with the split function, the way it works is it splits any data string. The information is here called a string, and it splits it by whatever criteria you decide. So in this case, I look at the email addresses, and it's a first name dot last name at student.nasttx.org. So I want to split these names by the period, the dot that's between the first and last names. And I want to do that because eventually I want to be able to organize this data by last name alphabetically, which is everything after the period, and then, of course, eventually by period. But we're just going to worry about the names right now. So what I need to do is go here, and I'm going to type in equals, split, and then open parentheses, select the data that I want to split. Then I'm going to hit comma, and then a quote. And then in this quote, I'm going to put what I want to split it by. And in this case, it's the period. So I'll just do a period, and then another quote, close the parentheses. And then I'm going to hit enter. And there we go. So I've got Braylon here, that's the first name, and then I may as well just title this last. So, and notice it's got Parkett student, and then it's got NISTTX, and then it's got org. That's because every place there was a period, it split that out. So you have to be thoughtful of that if you use a split function for other things, which there are a lot of things you can use it for. You need to be thoughtful of that because we may, if there was data, for example, in column A, B, then this formula wouldn't work because it would be blocked by this data. There's nothing over here, so we don't have to worry about that, but that's something to be thoughtful of. So now the only thing that I have to do is copy this down. So what I could do is just go Control C, and then if I hit Shift Control and the down arrow, that takes me to the very bottom of the Google Sheet. I don't want to paste this to the very bottom of the Google Sheet, so that really won't work. I could just kind of go like this and go all the way down. But again, scrolling takes forever as well. I don't want to do that. That takes too much time. The whole goal of everything here is not taking too much time. Here's a trick. If I go over here to F, I'm going to show you something here. If I go to F2, I'm going to click Shift, Control, and the down arrow. And this takes me, it highlights all of the data that has something in it. Now, when I did the same thing over here in column Z, well, that took me to the very bottom of the sheet because there's nothing in any of the in the column. So because I have this data here, here's what I'm going to do. This is a little trick that I learned that saves a lot of time. I'm going to go here. Again, I'm going to go Control Shift and down. I'm going to copy all these numbers. Okay. So I've copied this and I'm just going to paste it here. Now that looks kind of weird. Why would I do that? Well, the reason why is now when I copy this formula, this function, I'll go Control C, then I come over here down and I'm going to go Shift Control and the down arrow. Notice that it only highlights what's in the column. So now when I click Control V, voila, I get all of the formulas only where I want them. I don't have to worry about having all this stuff with all these little NAs or whatever. And to get to the very top, I click anywhere and I'll do Control-Shift up arrow, and that just takes me to the very top. Again, it saves me time from scrolling. Now, in the next video, I'm going to show us how to use this information that I've split out for the purposes of organizing this sheet. But that's all for this video, how to use the split function. And again, you can split by any different variable you want. I could have split by the @. I could even make the last name discrete. The reason why I'm not, and I'm leaving it like this, is because all I need this for is to alphabetize stuff. I don't actually need to use this to show on any sort of a sheet. This just gives me a tool that I can use to alphabetize and order these email addresses by the last name section. So just click on the next video to continue this series of how we make sense of all this information.